Hey guys, I'm Pauline.
Hey, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Pearl.
And I'm Tamiron, and welcome to the P3T podcast.
Woo!
And today we're going to be talking about being your own best friend. You know, the concept of a best friend, I think it's a bit difficult. It's a bit confusing to me because I don't fully understand what a best friend is. So maybe let's start there. What is a best friend? Who is a best friend?
I think a best friend is someone that you love dearly, like the person that's closest to you, the person you can share all your secrets with, the person you don't. Yeah, okay, maybe you have boundaries, but boundaries are more lenient. So someone that you trust with your whole heart and someone that you love fully with your whole heart.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like the whole concept of a best friend. Sijaiona ikifiti kwa maisha yangu. I don't know why. Because it's weird.
It's
weird.
It's
I don't know. I
so
think
weird.
also from when you were kids, BFFs having fights. It just felt so overrated, and I was like, I'm not going to do that nonsense. And then aside from that, I feel like there's also the levels of friendship. So I feel like by the time I'm calling you my friend, you know so much about me, you know so much about my life. From a lens looking outwards, someone would call you my best friend. But in my mind, you're just my friend. So, and personally, I have many friends. So, I don't know that I can...
Yeah, but tunaambiwa marafiki.
Just my friend. No, but by the time I'm calling you a friend, you already know so much about me.
Yeah.
Unajua vile kuna casual strangers, then acquaintances, then friend. So by the time umefika a friend, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
In my mind, or in general. So I've never really particularly had someone to call a best friend because I have not many friends, but I have quite a number of people I can call friends. So pinpointing one to be a best friend is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Or it makes sense in my mind. Yeah.
Hey, for me, a best friend is vibes and inshallah. Someone you have good vibes with, or in other words, a brother or a sister from another mother. So, someone that's there for you, someone who stands by you through thick and thin, celebrate with you. Sometimes nagombana, but we move, you know. And all in all, it's just the trust, mutual respect, and also the love that you show each other is constant. Even though those days you struggle to like one another, you know that they're always going to be there for you, come what may. So that's what a best friend is for me.
I think Tamiran made a really good point when she was talking about the transition between friend and best friend, and by the time you're calling someone a friend, they're already really special to you. I think we live in a society where friendship is given very leniently. You've known someone for 2 days, you're walking around this is my bestie. This is
or your classmate, a classmate umetoka kujuana leo. You know my friend, the one I sit in class next to. And you're not even friends.
You're just friends.
That is just your classmate.
Yeah, so I think where is that line between where does friendship stop being friendship? Where does it first of all stop being just acquaintanceship? Where does it become friendship? And where does it stop being friendship and become best friendship, if that's a thing? Is that a thing? It's a thing. I've said
It's a thing.
I think friendship starts with intentionality. So, for example, in one of my classes, I had this girl that sits in front of me. We'll talk once in a while, whatever. She'll tell me a new place that she found to eat around school. I'll go, I'll try it out, but I'm not going to go with her. So the intentionality part is when I'm oh, by the way, see, we go together. That's the intentional aspect. That's when I'm okay, yeah, this is my friend. She's moving. We're moving out of the acquaintance zone to the friendship zone, because then I'm calling you up to meet. I'm finding out how you're doing. But if it's just nakuta to class, and that's when I'm oh, how are you? How's your weekend? You're good. I'm good. Yeah, I think that's when you're an acquaintance. But a friend now comes to the intentionality aspect. Sorry.
Okay, personally, I think by the time I'm comfortable enough to share things about my life and like when I feel comfortable enough to talk about anything and everything and not feel judged, not feel unheard, you know, that for me, for sure, umekuwa rafiki.
Umesema.
Umemaliza yote.
Yeah, you've concluded. But anyways, yeah, just to sum it up, it's both what you guys have just said, the intentionality aspect, and also being able to open up to someone, and them receiving you in a not judgmental light or controlling light, but they understand you from where you're coming from. And yeah, I think that's the difference between acquaintanceship and friendship. Yeah.
So now, from the conversation, me, I'm judging a best friend is someone very special to you, a big deal in your life, basically. So how do you become that to yourself is what we're trying to discuss today. How do we move? How do we feel these feelings of respect, these feelings of importance, these, holding yourself to that same light as someone who is like your best friend? How do you become that for yourself? And why is it so hard?
That's a tough question.
I can tell you why it's hard. I can tell you why it's hard. I think it's hard because we live in an age where everyone's life is sort of out there, but it's not necessarily accurate, like social media, for example. And those pictures, they look good, but they're not always accurate. They're not always a true picture of what's going on in someone's life. But then sometimes you forget this. So you see someone your age driving a car and you're like, hey, Jehovah.
Mi naishi Ushago. Lakini tumetoka Madaraka.
But okay, yeah.
Exactly. So I think part of the reason is we hold ourselves to a standard that's just a bit too high and a bit too unrealistic for us to achieve. So maybe that's why it's hard, because you're never going to be good enough for yourself.
You always find a flaw.
Yeah, I think it's because people are always hard on themselves. I think it's just an inward thing. I don't know. It's as a result of lower self-esteem,
I guess it's as Paul said, it's something to do with looking at yourself in a lower light, like having self-esteem issues. But also it depends on your surrounding too. In the aspect of it all stems from self-esteem. But like if you have negative people surrounding you or who always highlight the bad things about you, then you're going to see yourself in a negative light. But when you have people who tell you like, oh, you're beautiful, or, telling you kind things about yourself, then you'll start seeing like, wow, I am. And then that's the time you'll start even cultivating the culture of learning yourself, developing your principles and everything, and being more in tune and in sync with your being.
I think
To even
so much.
to add to that, it reminds me of me. I've never really had an issue with self-esteem or self-love because I was always shown love. Like, even thinking back to home, my parents were super affirming. Like, even those times when my head was bald, they wakunita kiparongoto. They were like, hey, black beauty, hey, you look like Lupita. So that really elevated my self-esteem, and it even made me love myself. I was just making fun of my bald head because first of all, I had to accept the fact that it was bald and there was nothing I could do about it. But then also there was the fact that, I had been affirmed, therefore it was easy for me to affirm myself.
I was going to say, like, a lot of people are in that negative environment because it's like a psychological thing as you grow. When you're psychologist. I'm just giving everything about myself in this episode. So when you're like at a certain age, like when you're in school, especially like high school, when you're in your teenage years, you're trying to like find yourself. So that's when like it's just like natural, a lot of self-doubt creeps in. And if you don't have like the environment that Tamiran had, an external environment to tell you like, no, you're good, you're okay, you're whatever, some things can get to you because you're looking for validation from your peers at that age. And people your age who are trying to form cliques can be a bit brutal. Like they look at you and they'll say, hey, your hairline.
Mary
You know, yeah, they'll find anything and everything to make fun of you about, and that's where the self-doubt starts to come into it. It can be like just one thing, like somebody can go around telling me, pal, your short refuka, you know, and it's just that one comment that now will make me now be insecure about other things. I'll be like, oh, do they notice that I'm short? Do they notice that I'm this and that and that? You know, I'm dark and I'm not light and all of that. So I think, even if you've had a supportive environment time around, like one comment from one person at like such a crucial time in your life
can kill you.
Yeah, it can cause you to now start being like, if they notice this thing, then I must have other things about me that's wrong. Yeah.
I think another reason why it's so hard to become your own best friend is I think it's just easier to doubt yourself. It's easier to fall into patterns of me, I can't do this. Me, I'm not good enough. No. Because, like, for example, if you're faced with like a difficult situation, it will be easier to say, me, usually I'm bad at this. So there's no point in trying. Then for you to sit down and be like, okay, it's hard, but let me persevere. So it's the default. It's easier. So sometimes it feels like loving yourself or becoming confident or doing all these things is like working against yourself. It's like fighting yourself. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle sometimes.
Also, okay, from what I'm hearing from everyone, it's more or less a situation of self-sabotage. And I had this recently, and it was very mind-blowing. We self-sabotage because we are afraid of our potential. So it's so much easier to say that you're bad at something, not face the reality of, okay, I'm bad, but I can be better and I can be best. Because at the end of the day, we come to this earth not knowing anything. We get to know with time. Some people, the things they excel at are the things they hate the most. Like me, I hate writing. Kabisa. But I'm good at it. Like I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. But
Self-acclaimed writer.
The new Chimamanda of Kenya.
But it's something I'm good at. Like, and crazy thing is, I didn't even know I was good at it. You know how you're just writing. Sawa, let's write. My mom was actually telling me this recently. There's a book she gave me to read and she told me to write summaries. So I read it. I gave her a written summary, and a few weeks later, we were driving. She was driving me home, and she was like, oh, by the way, you know you actually write so well. And I was like, jokes. She was like, yeah, like I really enjoyed your writing. It was really good. But me in my mind, writing, for me, okay, I should probably change this because there's probably so much potential in that writing. But for me, it's so draining and tiring, to be honest. Ni kama homework. Because look at the homework we've been having in our past lives. Compositions, inshas. And now that I think about it, I even excelled in those. Like my inshas, I remember our Swahili teacher would constantly affirm the fact that I know how to write, would constantly ask for my papers to give from threes or people in younger classes to get something from it. But in my mind, I'm like, this thing is tiring me, I don't like it. So, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Tough. It's just a thing, like, I don't know. Has anyone ever noticed, like, it's so easy to think negative thoughts than to think positive?
Yes.
Like, we always tend to expect the worst of everything before expecting the best outcome. So,
It's also on a spiritual level. Like, you know, the devil exists.
And he do be lying, though.
He can use those thoughts to his advantage.
But I think, like, at the end of the day, like with all these things, it's self-esteem issues, it's constantly being surrounded by negativity, and sometimes it feels like it's the default. But like you need to overcome these things to be your own best friend, because I don't know about y'all, but me, I don't hang out with people I don't like. So for me to like call myself my own best friend, I need to first and foremost like myself. So I think the next thing is, would you say that you're your own best friend, or do you think it's something we're working towards? Is it achievable? Is it, hey, not happening anytime soon?
I think I definitely have like anxiety and self-esteem issues, just like mainly from my teenage years. But it's something like being my own best friend is something that I'm working towards, because in campus, like you can't always be with someone, or at least for me, I can't always be with someone. So I'm learning to, enjoy my own company.
Solitude.
Yeah, like even if I'm working, I can't work with my friends because watanipigia kelele. So I need to. So I've learned to enjoy that time alone. To just take myself somewhere, be alone. I can like have a snack or whatever, and I'm working. So those moments have definitely taught me on how to love myself. But it's not like I can't tell you, mimi najipenda kabisa, but it's definitely something that I'm working towards. Yeah.
For me, I think what even changed my perspective of loving myself was something I had from Bien for Sauti Sol. It was actually a Bible verse. Matthew,
Mark
Mark.
12:31.
What?
Are you sure you had it? Oh, you're making things up.
I had it, guys. I had it. So Mark 12:31 says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." And how he interpreted it was very profound. Okay, when we think of loving your neighbor as you love yourself, in our minds we assume that the neighbor comes first, we come second. But we are loving them as we love ourselves. So no one comes first or second. They're supposed to go hand in hand in a way. And I don't know, I was giving this example earlier. I'll use Priscilla as my example buddy. So me and Priscilla are driving along Thika Road, and we want to exit to get into Mombasa Road. And Thika Road has many exits that you can so easily miss. So let me assume, okay, Priscilla is driving. When Priscilla misses the exit to Mombasa Road, I won't be like, Priscilla, what's wrong with you? Are you mad? Why are you stupid? Are you blind? Can you not see that exit 11 is the one to Mombasa Road? Because I love Priscilla and I need Priscilla to remain my friend. So if I talk down on her, she'll cut me off. So same applies to myself. Like if I'm actively trying to be my best friend, I can't feed myself with those negative thoughts about myself.
Yeah.
Like now, in that same situation, maybe I'm driving alone. The most likely situation is I'll miss the exit. I'll call myself stupid. I'll call myself blind. I'll say all the worst, baddest things. Forgive the English about myself. But I shouldn't, because just the same love I gave Priscilla and the same kindness I gave Priscilla is the same that I should be extending to myself based on that verse. So, yeah.
I think based on that verse as well, it says love your neighbors, love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. Yeah, so like I can't come and like tell you, oh, Tamiron, I love you, oh, here's this, that. I can't give you compliments if I'm not giving myself compliments. If I don't look at myself and say, yeah, by the way, you're actually pretty. I can't go to somebody else and say, wow, okay, maybe I can. But it might come from like a point of longing or envy, not a point of genuine sincerity.
So it's like a precondition of Anyways, the journey of me being my best friend, I guess I'm working towards it. I guess it's a process. You just can't wake up and like, today I'm my own best friend. That should be like lying to yourself in a way. But being your own best friend comes with commitment to yourself. In that you need to have, the way you're committed to your friends. Like if Pal has an issue, I'll go to Pal or help her in some way, or the way I can. The same mercy and consideration you show others should also be extended to you. The amount of energy and effort you put in other relationships and friendships should also be put to you. And that's what I like what Pal said, where she said, getting to love or spend her time together, like spending not together, sorry, to spend her time
Solitude.
like in solitude and alone and enjoying her time and growing herself and learning herself in that time, you know. So like that in itself is like putting effort to yourself to get to know yourself, growing yourself, learning yourself, and also having affirmations. I think that helps a lot. Having affirmations over yourself, like you look at yourself in the mirror and I'm like, wow, I look so nice today.
Mimi.
Hey, you guys, I'm Lali Leo. Today, I'm stepping out in glory. And that really helps in boosting your self-esteem. And you know, the way you see yourself is how people see you. When you see yourself confident, I'm a confident girl, someone else can see you in that light because they're like, you're exuding. There's this verse that says, not even a verse, it's a saying where it says that what you speak or what you say is what you possess. So what you say over yourself and what you say over your life is what will eventually come forth and bring fruition. When you say you're beautiful, you'll start seeing the beauty in you. And as you see the beauty in you, people will also see the beauty in you. So I think it's a process that we're all growing in. And yeah.
For sure. But I think something that also...
Hey, Pauline, nataka kuruka swali. Ujajiuliza.
I'm getting there. Just wait. You are running. I was going to say something that for me, I'm starting to learn, or I'm starting to understand, and I think a lot of people need to understand is that you're really all you've got. It's just you.
Those are
That's
100
the
years
end.
you
That's
want to
it.
live.
Like you can't be anybody. You can't wake up in somebody else's body. Like where were you with all the insecurities, with all the self-doubt? That's it. So either you can decide to like move past it and like overcome these things, or you can forever live in that self-doubt and that insecurity, and it's going to damage you. Like it's actually going to damage you. So for me, I think learning that and starting to understand that has been the first step that sort of is driving me towards becoming my own best friend. But you see, I feel like we live, or sometimes people talk about these things and it feels like there's a perfect serenity that people are reaching, like you've reached Zen, and now you your best friend forever. Like even if you're alone for the rest of your life, you'll be okay. But like that's not realistic. Like you're gonna have days you're going to wake up and you're going to be, hey, me, I'm the man, I'm the guy, you can't stand to me. But then like there are going to be other days you wake up and you feel like you want to dig a hole, you want to enter, you want to say bye-bye. You want to stop. Like it's just part of the human experience, I think. And maybe it's something unafaa kuzoea.
Oh, I also wanted to add on something. Like the verse Tamiron talked about, Mark 12:31, where it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Have you ever thought of it like loving yourself in a way also loving God? In the aspect, okay, this is a little bit deep, but in the aspect where, let's just go back to Genesis a little bit, where God creates us in his own image and his own likeness, meaning we are the likeness of God.
Yeah.
And since we are in the likeness of God, you loving yourself is in turn also loving God.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
In some way, I don't know.
It makes sense.
It really
think
got
I
me
agree.
thinking. Yeah.
Also, I think social media has also kind of shaped negatively how we view self-love, because like social media portrays it to be an event. So maybe you see someone posting a video of themselves during the day or their self-care day. So they wake up at 10 p.m, they do skincare, they make themselves a nice lunch.
10 p.m.
10 a.m. Sorry, they make themselves a nice lunch. They just take the day to reset, and they're probably just taking a video of them resetting. But then from that video, we assume that it's supposed to be an event. One day, in the week I do skincare. Siku zingine my skin can look however it wants to look. One day I exercise. Hizo siku zingine. But the exercise is the simplest form of self-care and love. Just saying. Is walking not exercise?
Who told you I want to walk?
But you do. And it's the simplest.
This is why we're individuals with individual opinions.
Okay, let me say, I personally believe that exercise is the simplest form. So, okay, train of thought. Oh yeah, you make yourself a nice chicken and rice for lunch that day. But then the other days unajitengenezea indomie yenye umechemsha tu, you've not even spiced it up or anything. So I'm not saying self-love. Okay, what am I saying? I'm saying it's a consistent thing. If you're going to exercise, jaribu. If not every day, every other day. If it's eating, eat vizuri. Eat a balanced diet. Achana na mambo ya indomie kila siku. And a chipo,
Economy ni mbaya.
Economy ni mbaya, but that chipo is probably more expensive than a banana.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And you're being healthy. Just eating that banana.
Utashiba banana kweli.
Imagine, bananas, yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe not one.
Baby
So itakuwa 30 bob.
Yeah.
Chips, how much
100
is chips in your area?
Naongea Indomie 35.
Okay. Indomie 35.
Mnaishi raha.
Okay, let's give that example of chips. Chips a lot of the times is like 100 bob.
Chips ni 100.
Kwetu inaweza kuwa 50, but in most places it can be 100 bob. That same 100 bob, you can buy yourself a fruit salad
Exactly.
and stay healthy.
Like there's always a healthier
There's
option.
option. See, it's quick. Both of them are quick, but we assume chipo is quicker. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But both are relatively quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that
In
gives
the
a good,
everyday consistency.
I think that gives a good way to like practical. Like what are the practical things that we are doing? Not every day, but like to make sure that you remember. But the pia mimi na deserve kujinai sometimes. So,
And it's not only emotionally, it's physically, mentally,
because ultimately, like you can wake up every morning
spiritually,
and have let's say you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, give yourself like good affirmations, but then at the end of the day, if at 4 p.m. you're dehydrated, you've not done much. You've really not done much. Because for me, a good point for me is just making sure I'm constantly drinking water. Because it's very easy to fall dehydrated. Because I used to tell myself, I used to tell myself, see, I'm eating and there's water in food. And I'm drinking juice and there's water in juice. And I have saliva. That means I'm not dehydrated. That means I'm not dehydrated. But then you find like at the end of the day, you're so tired. Or you wake up in the morning and you have a migraine.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on? Could you imagine? So it's like, it's small things that, what are these small things that you do physically that ultimately show, well, not necessarily show, that make you feel like you're holding yourself to a better standard than you normally would.
And you're taking care of yourself in all spheres.
This so in high school I started this thing where like I would wake up in the morning, not too early though, but I would wake up, when people go and read, when they went to read for exams, me I went to wake up early to read my Bible for like the tail end of that time. So even though it was like 15-20 minutes, I'd go try to read my Bible, then like go for breakfast, come out and do class things, like just do school things. And then because there was a routine, like school had a routine, just easy to keep up with it. Then finished high school, and then we had the break between high school and uni. I didn't have a routine. Like every day nakuwa tu ni two vibes. Kama ni Netflix, ujui.
I don't know, there's something about that period that was so hauna motivation kufanya anything.
I think part of the reason was because there's something about being a teenager that makes you think when you cover a certain milestone, the world has ended. Like when I finished high school and I thought, by the way, I'm done. But Jesus can come back. Because like it feels like so much, but then you finish that milestone, you pass that milestone, and you start your next journey of your life, and you look back. And you realize it really wasn't that much. It really wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah, upon high school was a bit much.
It was much.
Oh, okay. So, what I did for what I do for myself now. So last time, so anyway, so the break between school and school, there was no routine, so I didn't do anything. And then my first semester, it was a bit tough because like new people, anxiety.
You're trying to adjust to the schedule.
Yeah. And then I had not commuted from home to school in like 4 years because of boarding. So even like adjusting to that physically. So a lot of things together, I was just like, my devotion stayed on the wayside. So this semester I decided to start doing devotions, and it really helped like with my anxiety, it helped me to love myself, to go an extra mile if I'm feeling a certain way. I just look for solutions to correct it. Another thing that I do is I try as much as possible to walk. So even I but I'm not a big fan of physical exercise. But so I take advantage of times when I have to walk. So when I have to get out of the house, I'll not like, if there's a way, if I can use a matatu for a short distance, I'd rather walk that distance. So that's how I get myself going. So that walking helps me to be alone and to, get my thoughts together. Another thing that helps me is, I know we've talked about like being healthy and eating well. But if I feel like I want to eat chipo or bajia, I'm going to go get it. So just like, sometimes like attending to your body cravings, not all the time at your sticks, like I have to be healthy. So like once a week I'll go get bajias or fries or something. And the rest of the time I'll be like, no pal, you made your bed, therefore you must lie in it. Leo tunakula fruit, leo tunakula something healthier. Yeah.
For me, I always try to find, personally, exercise is a very important sphere of my life. And I get a high from exercising or from doing a dopamine rush from doing physical activity, like the sports I do or just taking a jog. It just gives me it sets the mood of my day, and I like doing it in the morning because I want that rush from the time I start my day to the time I finish, and it's relatively sustainable. So for me, trying to incorporate exercise into my day. Also hydration. I am very intentional about it. Devotion, spiritually. I have to confess, I'm not the best at it, and to be honest, it does not make me feel good at all. No, not doing devotion.
One more time. I think
Okay. Not
Failing
doing
to do
failing to do devotion
does not make you feel
does
good.
not make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel like, okay, all these other spheres of my life are doing well, but I also need to feed myself spiritually. And to be honest, I haven't really been doing that as much as I should be. And honestly, I'm just trying to jump back into the cycle of things. The thing is, you realize something is wrong, do something to fix it. So I've been trying to get back at it. This week nilifanya mara moja, but next week I will do it a bit more.
Hata mara mbili ni improvement.
True. And then also, in terms of what I eat, I'm not like, the number of times I tend to go for the smochas and the chips is like literally every day, because in my mind it's the quickest thing to get. But this week I was with a classmate and she showed me a place where I can get a good amount of fruit salad for 100 shillings. And so I'm trying to incorporate that, like just being healthier. I eat a lot of junk, and at the same time, the food that I eat is not exactly vitamin filled. It's more of starch and protein. So just adding, fruits here and there is also a way. I'm trying to be better at that. But I think for the most part, that's it.
Can I add something about the devotional thing? Something that I discovered when now I picked it back up is not to put pressure on myself. So, like, set a time of the day. Like, if you're going to say, like, at 7 a.m. or at 8 a.m., I'm going to do my devotion. If it's not possible, then don't beat yourself up for it. Because that was my goal. I was like, If I do it once a week, it's fine. Bora nimefanya, you know,
Yeah.
because I know it will give me, like, even though I'll procrastinate, like I'll scroll on my phone, you know, be like, yeah. But that's the one thing I'll make sure I'll do is before I go for my first class, I'll have done my devotional. But if it doesn't happen, it's fine. I'll do it the next day. So just as long as within yourself, you know you're intentional with it, then you're fine. But don't beat yourself up about it. Yeah, that's something that I learned.
And also, still adding on the devotion, I think sometimes, like, it's easy to get angry. Sorry, it's easy to get angry because, like, there's all these things going on in life, and you feel like, you know, you don't want to, like, put God aside and act like, hey, my man, let me finish life. But also, like, the truth of the matter is life is continuing. Like, you have classes. You have classes 8 a.m., sometimes 7:30. You have assignments to do. You have cards to read for. Like, life is moving. And sometimes it can get a bit hard to say that I'm going to do it at this time and actually end up doing it at that time. So I think, try not to beat yourself up for it because life is moving.
Also, to add on the devotional part, I'm not sponsoring anything. YouVersion,
Sponsored.
Holy Bible, the YouVersion app. I saw that it has like daily affirmations and certain routines you can do, like for a 7-day period. So in whatever topic that interests you or you feel led to indulge in, you can maybe look into that. Maybe it can help in growing the consistency of your spiritual life. Yeah. Also, in addition to what Tamiron said, for me, working out has also become something else. Where I started it like in November last year. And I guess it was inspired by Rono. Because I saw how determined she was, and I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. So I decided to do the 3-month challenge that she was also doing. And I've been slacking in some bits, but at least I like the fact, I like working out, not only for just losing weight and getting a better body or something. No, I like how it trains your mind in determination, discipline. Like, today I'm waking up at 7 and I'm going to do ab workouts, or I'm going to do my glutes, or I'm going to do this and that. And that's determination and focus and discipline. You'll realize the same way you're putting that discipline and determination in your workout will somewhat culminate to other things that you're setting to do even during the day and all that. And it builds that discipline over and over. Also, I like, the part for eating what you want once in a while. I'm trying to stop eating chips a lot of times. But one thing I do personally, like to spend time with myself, is every Friday evening, I eat in my room. I don't eat with my family. I go upstairs, I eat in my room, and then I put a nice movie on my phone and I watch in bed. That thing slaps. That thing slaps. Because then the lights are dim. It's like 8 p.m. huko. And it's just like, it's time between you and your phone and watching a good movie. Not just any funny movie that will give you nightmares. A nice decent movie, like maybe Encanto or something. Okay. No, but
Any nice movie.
Let me just not say Encanto, but a really good movie that you'll enjoy and doing yourself, and jipende.
Jipende, bro.
Hii maisha ni kali.
Okay, so we've had a lot of discussion here on being your own best friend and, you know, self-esteem and all these nice words that people like to say, and they make people feel good for those times when that conversation is going on. But I think the root of it is that it's hard. Like, it's not easy to wake up every morning and make the conscious decision to be your own best friend, or to think of yourself first, or to, you know, do all the things we've said you should do. So I think we should all remember that it's not easy. You don't wake up every morning and become this perfect Zen person. Like, it's a conscious decision, and a lot of times, like, it will be easier to not do it.
Yeah.
Another thing is, like, a lot of people are like, become the best version of yourself, or visualize your best self. I don't think I know what my best self looks like, because I've never been her. I'm just trying to get there. So I think people need to be just a bit more kind, a bit more kind to yourself, and a bit more kind to others, because everyone is trying, and we're all trying. This life is not easy.
Yeah.
Also, there's something I discovered yesterday, which I think is quite interesting to share. So there's this scientific discovery that Dr. Bruce Woolard discovered. And he said that, you know, the way the Bible has Yahweh, YHWH. So Yahweh, or YHWH, are Hebrew consonants that represent breathing sounds, or aspirant consonants. In the Hebrew alphabet, the Yod, or Y, the Y, is pronounced like Ya. The letter H is the H. The V or W is the letter Vav. And the combination of these letters produce breathing sounds. So, Yahweh. So, whenever you're inhaling and exhaling, you're actually proclaiming the existence of God because He is in you. Your very breath is calling on God. And I found that quite profound, because a lot of us, I know a lot of people say that, like, you find your identity in Christ. And yeah, it's been sung a lot, but I don't really think people have really internalized the power of finding your identity in God. Like the way I even said, how loving yourself is in turn loving God. Like, that thought, came into my mind. And I just thought it was a quite interesting thing to share, because your very existence is of God. Your very breathing is of God. And the fact that you love yourself is in turn loving God. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think I wanted to end on this verse. Sorry, I'm finding it. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 8. It's very famous. A lot of people use it. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, does not boast, it's not proud. It does not dishonor others, nor is it self-seeking. It is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. I think when we are going through moments of self-doubt, we should remember that verse. You know, love is patient, so self-love should be patient. Self-love should be kind. So be patient to yourself, be kind to yourself. You know, don't keep records of wrongs of yourself, because now, you know, there we can reflect on something that we did in the past. Unashtukia tu umekumbuka, yani last week nifanya nini. So just when you're loving yourself, keep this verse in mind so that you know how to operate and how to love yourself.
Offers a good guideline.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to the podcast. We're going to have more episodes coming soon. But yeah, we really
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye.